Welcome to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast, where you get unconventional insights into wealth building and retirement that actually work. Discover data-driven strategies and learn from a wealth of experience so that you can take your retirement to the next level. Now, here's your host. He was once bitten by a harbor seal, the income engineer, Kraig Strom.
All right, fantastic to be here. This is Kraig Strom with Personal Pension Radio, flying solo today. A quick episode on a topic that we covered back on episode number 7. But before I jump right in, we are coming to you from the 95th floor of the Personal Pension Radio Tower here in beautiful South Corona, California. We are all about helping you, our listeners, get ready for the best possible lifestyle income in retirement that you can have, whether you're already in retirement now or not, or whether you're working your way right towards it. Retirement income planning is that missing link in the retirement conversation, and that is what we specialize in. And I want to throw a quick thank you and a shout out to our listeners around the world. It is so flattering. We actually have listeners, of course, in the United States, but we have listeners. Hello, everybody in the Philippines listening. Those folks up in Canada listening. I love Canada. Some of my most favorite vacations have been in Canada. And thank you to those over in the United Kingdom. We've got folks in France, Thailand, the Ukraine, Ireland. Really appreciate everybody being out there in the audience. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to head on over to iTunes. Give us some love there at iTunes. It helps us a lot in the rankings in the great big World Wide Web. Just quickly, before I forget, our beginning of the podcast disclosure, make sure that you remember not to take advice or act on advice for people that you hear on the radio or a podcast like ours for that matter. You have the opportunity with us at any time to go on over to Personal Pension Radio, send us an email, request a personal consult, talk to us directly so we can get to know each other. But definitely don't take financial advice from folks that you're listening to on TV or financial entertainers on the radio. Get that one-on-one connection before you act on anything. The full-blown disclosure will be at the end of the podcast. And let me jump right into the topic today. This is going to be a conversation, again, as I mentioned earlier, that we visited in podcast number 7 with Jason Purvis. This is a discussion I want to have about protection. This came up recently when I was introduced to someone by a local CPA. I was introduced to a client opportunity to work with someone, and that person was really focused on how was I going to help them invest, or how was I going to help them get insurance, or, insurance for investing. And it was all about investing and accumulating and I got to start save. And what I found as we dug into things was that the fundamental piece of the puzzle to begin any good, solid financial planning was missing. And that was protection. Protection first. So I've used this analogy many times, and there's probably 1,000 different ways to say it. But if you think about any construction site, we have some construction happening here right across the way in our complex. Lots of good quality noise, lots of great dust because we have no rain here. So when you think about a construction project, what's the first thing that goes up on that construction project? What's the first thing after they go and get their insurance policies and such? The very first thing that happens on that construction project before anybody lifts a shovel, they put up the rent-a-fence. They put up that fence or some form of a barrier around the project. That's the very first thing that happens. So my question to you and the audience is, how does your fence look? How does the fence look around your project? And your project is your financial house. You are building a financial house, and you want it to be an empire, but it's going to start out small. How does the fence look? Do you have holes in the fence? Do you have gaps in the fence where people from the outside or things and events can come in and mess with your stuff, right? So I think back to a story in CNN, and it was all over the news actually back in 2008. And this was the story of the last house standing. This is you can search for it on Google. We'll have a link to it in the show notes. But you can search last house standing, and you will find a picture of Warren and Pam Adams' home in Gilchrist, on the Gilchrist Gulf Coast side in Texas, Gilchrist, Texas, okay? And you'll find a picture of their home in what looks like an area that a nuclear bomb has gone off, because their home is the only thing still standing. Over 200 other homes completely wiped out by a hurricane, tropical storm, and their home is the only one left standing. It is a sobering sight. People think it's actually been photoshopped, and it has not been photoshopped. It's a legitimate picture of their home. What had happened to them was back in 2005, their home was destroyed by Hurricane Rita. And they wanted to be at the beach, but they decided if they were going to rebuild. You see, Warren is an electrical engineer by trade, and if they decided if they were going to rebuild, they would build a home that could withstand whatever came at them next time. And so they built this home with steel subframes and construction and massive wooden pylons driven into the ground. And the home is 14 feet off the ground. It's raised up off the ground. Bottom line is they built that house with the most comprehensive protection they could get for it. What they didn't realize, unfortunately, was that if it did happen, which it did just 3 years later, when that next storm came through, the scary part is that their house was the only one left. So as they stand there on their porch, which is still there, looking around, there was no other homes in sight, just the debris. So this story rings in my mind all the time in regards to protection and helping people step back away from all of the marketing hype that you see in on the news and on the internet and financial entertainers and Money Magazine, all of these things that are talking about your 401k and your next stock investment and what should you do here. Nobody ever stops to say, are you completely protected? So I want to do a quick rundown of the fence around your financial house. I want to go through, and this is going to be quick and fast, and if you want to go through specific details, we're going to offer to anybody listening, if you want to have your protection component reviewed, we will review that personally and with our own experts that we have as part of our team to make sure there are no holes in your fence. And I'm actually also going to share a personal experience or two myself and with clients to help give you some examples of what to look for. So let's just jump in. Again, a short episode today, all about protection. Let's put up the fence around your financial house to make sure that nobody can come in and mess with your stuff. Because the whole idea is that you're going to build to the point where you get ready for retirement. And if your fence is not built right, if it isn't up properly, someone or something can come in, like with Warren and Pam Adams, and come in and some outside force that you have no control over can come in and mess with your world. And we don't want that to happen. So let's just start basics first. Home insurance, okay? Home insurance comes in, with some primary basic features. Number one, you can have the property itself rebuilt based on current market rates. Make sure that your home insurance will actually replace your dwelling. Make sure that you can get contractors to come in and rebuild your house if that house was destroyed by fire or earthquake or a flood or something happens. Make sure that you actually have enough coverage on your policy to rebuild the house. And I have to tell you, one of the ways that insurance companies and sometimes insurance advisors and folks who are on the call centers will cut insurance premiums is that they won't have maximum replacement costs built into a home insurance policy. It's just, I've seen it many times. So make sure, number one, that you can actually rebuild the house. You got to have that coverage. Number two is liability. The liability coverage on your home is critical. Now, people sometimes miss this and they don't think about it, how big a problem this is. You want to make sure that your liability limits on your home are as high as the policy will allow. And I'll tell you why. People think that if somebody falls down on their property and their home insurance has, let's say, $300,000 liability limit, well, then $300,000, that pays to the person who fell down, and we're done with it. And everything, it sounds like it's going to take care of it. $300,000 should be fine. Well, here's the thing to think about. What if that person doesn't get up? What if that person is injured in such a way that they are not able to work? What if that person is permanently disabled? Well, the $300,000 that you have on your insurance, or heaven forbid, if you only have $100,000 of coverage, that's not going to last very long at all. And then they're going to sue you in civil court to get whatever else they can get out of you. And here's the scary part. Here in California, attorneys tell me that in civil court, people can sue for as much as 30% of your income for a decade. Think about that. 30% of your income garnished for a decade to pay a claim that your home insurance didn't fully cover. So number one, start with maximum coverage on your home insurance liability. Quick story on that. Someone that I know, true story, had a person from the United States Postal Office step up on their porch to deliver a package. Nobody saw this, but that person claims they slipped on water that was on their porch and fell down and hurt their back. Nobody saw it. There were no witnesses. And yet, my friends received legal action notice from the United States Postal Service seeking reimbursement for disability claims paid to that individual. So if not for their home insurance being very substantial and well done, because thankfully we know each other and they listen to me, their home insurance covered it, and it wasn't anything beyond that. But can you imagine that? The only thing worse than getting a letter from the United States Postal Service might be from the IRS, because the U.S. Postal Service has bottomless pockets. So home insurance liability, make sure that it's maxed out. Get as high as you can. Now, from there, you want to make sure that you add a liability coverage on top of your car insurance and home insurance. So I'm going to cover that right after I cover the car insurance. Okay, so you'll understand how it works. Car insurance, same thing. Make sure that you have maximum coverage allowed for liability. Now, if you're driving a really old car that is not a collectible, you don't necessarily have to have full replacement coverage on that vehicle unless you want to. But you absolutely need maximum liability protection on whatever vehicle you drive. And I mean whatever. I mean, if you have a golf cart in your gated community, make sure that golf cart is covered under your auto liability insurance. If you have a motorcycle, a jet ski, if you have a personal, you have any kind of recreational ATV, quad runner, make sure those are covered for liability. Because if you run into someone in your golf cart while you're on vacation and you don't have liability insurance covered over that golf cart, you are in deep trouble. Because you get sued just like anything else. Doesn't matter if you're driving a golf cart or a Chevy. So your car insurance first, make sure your liability limits are as high as you can get them, okay? And make sure that your uninsured motorist coverage is equal to your regular liability coverage. That's the key. The uninsured motorist coverage is one of the biggest mistakes that I see on a regular basis. Uninsured motorist, let's make sure you know what that covers. Uninsured motorist covers you if some uninsured person runs into you. Your auto insurance will only cover you personally up to the amount of your uninsured motorist. So even if you have $500,000 of regular liability coverage on your auto, and that's the coverage that protects or goes to other people if you run into them, even if you've got $500,000 that protects other people and you've only got $50,000 of uninsured motorist and you get hit by an uninsured driver, you're out of luck. You're out of luck. You'll collect up to $50,000 and that's it. So make sure that your uninsured is equal to your liability that you have for strangers. Protect yourself for the same amount that you protect other people. Okay, so make sure that you've got that coverage on the uninsured side. Now, home insurance, car insurance, and then cover both of them with umbrella liability insurance. The umbrella liability insurance, in my opinion, is one of the single most important coverages you could ever have. If you have kids driving cars or riding dirt bikes or doing anything out there in the world and you don't have an umbrella liability policy, you are crazy. It's one of the least expensive types of coverage you can ever get, and you need to get it yesterday. So what happens is your home insurance, let's say, covers you up to $300,000. Your car insurance covers you up to $500,000. Think about it. If you hurt somebody bad enough, $300,000 or $500,000 is not going to cover the civil liability claim that you're going to be hit with. So you go and get $1 million or $2 million of umbrella liability coverage, and that rides over umbrella, kind of covers over your home and your car insurance that says if your homeowner's policy is maxed out, then your umbrella liability comes in to cover you as well. Your insurance company is there with a great big umbrella over the top of everything. The umbrella policies I've seen lately, $280, $300 a year for $1 million of liability protection. Get that ASAP. Get that liability protection taken care of, okay? So, especially if you have kids, they're out there driving around in a car that is at all attached to you, and they're minors. Even if they're not minors, get your umbrella right. Now, the next thing on the list, life insurance. So we're not going to go into a lot of detail on life insurance. In this case, we're going to talk about life insurance just strictly from a protection point of view. Life insurance is not first for paying off mortgages or paying off student loans. It's for, this is really important, replacing the income lost or the economic value lost when you lose someone. If a spouse passes away and that person had been earning $100,000 a year, that's $100,000 a year that is no longer coming into the family bank account. Therefore, we're going to have a serious problem. Life insurance is about replacing as much of the economic value lost as possible. If we go ahead and get extra life insurance to pay off mortgages and college and student loans and such, that's great. But the first place we need to start with life insurance is just replacing the ATM machine, right? Because think about it. Your most valuable asset in most cases, the single most valuable financial asset in most cases is your paycheck, your ability to earn an income. Your economic value is your ability to earn money. And if you die all of a sudden, your family is now at a loss. They just lost one of the ATM machines. So life insurance first. If you want to know what the economic value calculation might look like for you personally, absolutely, as part of this protection review that you can have with us, we'll go through that with you so you can make sure that you've got that piece of the fence taken care of. Now, the next thing that comes with, now this is something that's very specific to only one company that I know of, is there's certain life insurance out there that you can get. There's term life insurance that offers some benefits that are convertible to chronic illness coverage. So most life insurance policies, the only way to get money out of those life insurance policies, like term insurance, is you have to die or you have to be diagnosed soon to be dead. Neither one of those are really great options. But what if you don't die? What if you're just chronically ill, chronically disabled? If you're in a situation like a long-term care event, or we have, you heard a podcast a while back with Mindy, who works with us here, whose husband had a stroke, and he's chronically disabled forever. Well, there are term life insurance options. One company that I know of only, and this is a company that we work with a lot, offers the ability to convert, to change term insurance into chronic illness coverage so you can receive money from that policy without having to die to get it. Okay, so life insurance, chronic illness, those things are important. Make sure that that piece of the fence especially is covered, because if you don't die, you can't get any money out of life insurance. Okay, that's just the way it is. I mean, in that term life insurance, there's no other way to get money out of that. Okay, there are other types of life insurance, of course, that you can get value out of, but that's not what we're talking about here. The next thing on the list for the last two that I'm going to cover here today is disability income insurance, paycheck insurance. So let's think about all this. Everything we've talked about so far, what pays for home insurance? Oh, that's right, your paycheck. What pays for car insurance? Oh, your paycheck. What pays for liability insurance and life insurance? Oh, that's right, your paycheck. What pays for the movies? What pays for your next vacation? How do we go and save any money for retirement? Oh, that's right, our paycheck. But sadly, and I see this all the time, it is the one thing that is not insured properly. Is your paycheck actually insured? Do you know for sure that you would actually be able to survive if you were disabled and unable to work anymore? Okay, disability income planning is an area that we are extremely passionate about because we want to help people prepare for the best possible retirement. And if you lose your ability to earn an income and your paycheck is not insured, that could be game over. Just kiss that retirement goodbye, because now the entire financial plan is thrown upside down. So you have to make sure that disability income planning, disability insurance should be something that we have a conversation about. Again, if you want to know more about disability income planning, go to Personal Pension Radio. Get in touch with us. Send us an email. We're happy to help you understand that. Okay, we're happy to go through that with you. It's really important stuff. I'm a big believer in disability income planning. I own all of this stuff. I have it personally. My family is absolutely bulletproof. If something happens to me where I get sick, if something happens to me where I can't work, if something happens where I die, if something happens where I don't die, I know without a doubt that my family is protected. And it gives me lots of comfort to know that. So I want you to have that same good feeling that your family financial house is protected. Okay, the last thing is medical insurance. And medical insurance, I want to reference it only to say, wow, that has gotten to be a very, very complicated topic. We have experts that we actually work with, that we partner with to help people with their medical questions and medical insurance questions. That is just an amazingly complicated area nowadays, and the medical side of things should not be missed, because there are benefits out there that you want to know about if you haven't had an opportunity to review them. Okay. Now, backing up with one quick note to everybody listening as we think about home and car and umbrella liability insurance, right? I want to back up and make sure that you got this note so I didn't forget it. Make sure that your deductibles are right on your home insurance and car insurance. And what do I mean by that? Think about this. If you have home insurance, okay, in California, the rule of thumb is that if you file more than one claim on your homeowner's insurance, if you file 2 claims for reimbursement under your homeowner's insurance, you will most likely be canceled. Your insurance company will most likely cancel you as a high risk, and they will report that cancellation to the other insurance companies so that they know you've been canceled. So that when you go to apply for another insurance company, chances are you'll probably pay more money than you did before. So what I'm getting at is we don't really want to use our home or car insurance for anything that's not severe. It's got to be something really important to use our home or car insurance. So let's think about it this way. If you came home and your downstairs kitchen was flooded, okay, this happened actually to a friend of mine. Downstairs kitchen was flooded, and you got a quote for tearing up the floor and replacing the floor, and the cost of replacing that floor was about $1,800. Okay, so it was about $1,800. So at that point, would you call your homeowner's insurance to file a claim and pay your $500 deductible so that you could get the $1,300 difference from the insurance company? Would you use up one of your two options to get coverage, or would you just pay the $1,800 and not file a claim? Well, my friend chose option number 2, just pay the $1,800 and not waste his homeowner's insurance on that kind of a claim. Now, if his living room burnt down, that's a whole different story. So if you think about it, this person would not have spent $1,800 or would not have filed a claim for that $1,800 damage. So why not have perhaps a $2,000 deductible on the home? So that's what they did. They actually raised up their deductible to $2,500 instead of where it was at $500. So they went from a $500 deductible to a $2,500 deductible. Guess what happened to the cost of their insurance? Yeah, their homeowner's insurance went down so much they were able to get umbrella liability insurance added on and still saved money on their insurance. So they put their deductible at a level that made sense for them, and it just saved them a bunch of money, and they were able to actually add umbrella coverage on top of that. The same thing goes for your car. If you back into the shopping cart corral at Walmart and the body shop says it's going to cost $900 to fix your car or $1,200 to fix your car, are you really going to use one of your claims? Are you going to really call your car insurance for a $900 repair job and risk not having your insurance when you really need it the most? So perhaps why not have a $500 deductible? Why not have a $1,000 deductible? It all depends on your situation, but get a deductible that fits the level that you would set as your benchmark for when you would actually file a claim. Okay? So we just went through that quick: home insurance, car insurance, liability, life insurance, disability income. Really important stuff. If you haven't had your coverages really reviewed, if you haven't had this checked, that's a place that we want to help you with. So you can go over to Personal Pension Radio. You can get in touch. We'll give you a simple form to fill out the details, and we'll help you review it. We don't have to be we don't sell car insurance and home insurance, for example, but we'll always help you get the right perspective on things. I'll tell you from personal experience that I did this, and I do it on a regular basis, and I had been assured multiple times by my current insurance company that I had coverage on 3 rental properties that we own. I had been assured, but now I had this reviewed, my insurance reviewed by a good friend of mine, and he said, "You really need to show me the paperwork." And I had never thought to pull the paperwork out of the drawer to verify what the person at the insurance company had been telling me. Sure enough, I pulled that paperwork out, and nowhere on my actual policy endorsements were those 3 rental properties actually listed. The person at the insurance company was completely wrong and did not know what the heck they were talking about, and led me to believe I was protected, and I wasn't. So don't assume that everything is as protected as you think it is, because unless you've actually had it double checked, the answer is you just don't know. okay? I've got clients who thought their gun collection was covered. Their gun collection, worth many thousands of dollars, was not covered under their homeowners policies because they had not told the insurance company about its value. I've had clients now that thought their classic car was covered because they parked it in their garage. It was covered under their homeowners policy. No, it's not. It's not covered the way you think it is. You've got to make sure that your specific details are listed correctly on your policy and covered, okay? So that is a quick and dirty run through on the protection discussion. Again, go back and listen to episode 7 with Jason Purvis. We'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. But get yourself in to have this stuff checked out. We work with clients all over the country. To all of our friends listening internationally, we don't have the ability to work with you in China at this point. But those folks that are listening here in the U.S., we work with clients all over the country. And we're happy to help you review this stuff. If you have questions, send us a note. Go to Personal Pension Radio. Also, make sure you head on over to iTunes and give us some thumbs up. Give us a nice like and a review. We'd appreciate it over there. And finally, the Optimizing Retirement Income Report is fantastic. Don't forget to download that at Personal Pension Radio. So that's it today. Fantastic day. Make it a good one for you. We'll talk to you again real soon on Personal Pension Radio.
Thank you for listening to the Personal Pension Radio Podcast. If you missed anything during the show, that's okay. We took the notes for you. Check the show notes for links, offers, and a full transcript. And don't forget to head over to personalpensionradio.com and download your free retirement income report. While you're there, we'd appreciate some iTunes love. Please leave us a fantastic rating on iTunes by going to personalpensionradio.com/iTunes. Thanks again for listening.